Well, how often have you heard it said that science fiction has become reality? In one case, that's not a good thing, as killer robots threaten to become the next weapons of mass destruction.
Now, more than 100 artificial intelligence experts are urging the Australian government to support a worldwide ban on lethal autonomous weapons, saying that they could wreak more havoc than nuclear bombs.
It seems like something right out of Hollywood, but robots are already roaming battlefields. Samsung is famous for smartphones, but the tech giant has also made a sentry robot for South Korea. The SGR-A1 patrols the Korean demilitarised zone and is capable of firing a machine gun all by itself. The US military uses robotic aircraft to carry out targeted attacks, and last year launched an unmanned warship designed to hunt down and destroy submarines. Artificial intelligence experts say it's only a few years before a single programmer will be able to control tens of thousands of killer robots. It's feared they could end up in the hands of terrorists and that war will be fought on a scale never seen before. In the words of physicist Stephen Hawking this week,
"The rise of powerful AI will be either the best or the worst thing ever to happen to humanity."
Now, artificial intelligence professor Toby Walsh from the University of New South Wales will be addressing the United Nations' first formal meeting on killer robots come Monday. But before that, he joins us in studio. Welcome, Toby.
Good morning.
It seems there are a couple of issues here. Number one, just remotely controlled robots, such as the drones that we're using now. And number two, robots that have their own autonomous intelligence. You know, is there a difference philosophically between, these two things in this debate?
There is a big difference. It's about whether you give a machine the right to make a life or death decision.
Yes.
At the moment, the drones, there's still a human in the loop. There's still a soldier in a container back in Nevada who's making that decision.
Yes.
But they're talking about, and this is only a small technical leap, to remove the human, replace them by a computer. And that would be crossing a moral line.
In some ways, it sort of makes sense because you think, well, would that spare the lives of soldiers? But then if both sides are using autonomous weapons, what is that? Some kind of war game with no people?
We're not going to have robots fighting robots. That's not the nature of warfare. They're going to be turned on civilians and they're going to be turned on us. And so it's very short-sighted to think that it's only going to be, taking our soldiers out of the battlefield. They're going to up the ante. They're going to change the speed and that we fight war. They're going to be a terrible occurrence. And today of all days is a really good day to be thinking of this. We're thinking of the horrors of warfare. We should be thinking of the horrors of future wars.
So when people are programming these robots to make their own decisions, they give them presumably a rubric through which to make the decision. And that could be anything. It could be very specific or very broad, right?
Yeah, well, we're talking about giving weapons the right to, say, loiter over the battlefield, a drone that would fly over the battlefield for a day at a time.
Yep.
And so we'd have to have a lot of independence to be able to make its own decisions. And that's one thing that we've warned as scientists, is that we just don't know how to write programs to do that.
Right.
That can do that with the accuracy. They'll be making lots of mistakes. They won't be following international humanitarian law.
Well, of course, indeed.
Now, you are speaking at the UN on Monday. You get on a plane tonight. What are you going to be saying to the UN?
I'm going to say that we have a short window of an opportunity to take some action. We have, as a society, as a planet, made some smart decisions in the past. We have banned all other weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons, and various other technologies, blinding lasers, anti-personnel mines. We've sometimes decided, when we've seen the horrors of war, like we saw the horrors of chemical weapons in the First World War, that it would be best to ban them. My fear, though, is that, like with most things that have been banned, we have to wait to see the consequences before we have the courage and conviction to do it.
Right.
Could we not have AI that is put to ethical purposes, though, within a war environment, such as mine clearing and things?
Yes, there's plenty of good things that the military can use autonomy for, AI for. Clearing minefields, that's a perfect job for a robot. No one should ever risk a life or a limb clearing a minefield. That's you could sacrifice a robot doing that. Bringing supplies into contested territory. There's lots of good things.
But I guess once you've got the intelligence itself, that technology, that becomes its own philosophical and applicational minefield.
Yes, it does.
Well, listen, Toby, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck at the UN.
Yeah, best of luck.
I hope your voice is heard very clearly there.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Still